Previously on MaudeWorld.
You're making your way towards the first precinct.
We were told to report here by Inspector Pelton himself.
This dwarven gentleman is wearing the garb of an inspector. I would appreciate it if you would return tomorrow morning.
Can we find a tavern in close proximity?
You're able to find a tavern called the Masked Mouse.
Excuse me, sir, I would like your finest dinner beer, and I would like to meet the masked mouse. Take my drink and sit next to the halfling guy. Hi!
Hi.
Did anyone tell you anything about what's happening?
There was some sort of explosion.
This is a waste of time. Let's go.
Yes.
If someone's saying things to you, Bella, then I need to know. It's my job to keep everyone in line. Now that you're getting closer, you can now see the extent of the damage. My name is Jaina. I am the commander of the Peakstock Watch. 2 nights ago, we were attacked. We have reason to believe that the rats were behind it. You will let me past, and I will speak to whomever I wish to speak to. Now move! Viscountess Callio. Good morning. You all stand in silence, and awkward tension as you realize what the current situation is. You stand in the office with the commander of the City Watch, the commander of the Peakstock Watch, 2 very high-ranking members of the Peakstock Watch, and a very angry noble with her hulking red dragonborn bodyguard, whom again everybody except Drake has noticed doesn't have a tongue.
He's a tall fella, isn't he? In my defence, he's very tall.
He is very tall.
And I can't see in his mouth from here.
Do you want to?
Well, apparently there's stuff to see that people won't tell me about.
So, the Viscountess turns to the commander, and she says, "Well, Commander Jaina, what do you have to say for yourself?" Inspectors, if you would kindly take our guests outside, I will discuss matters with the Viscountess. The 2 inspectors move very quickly to obey. They walk out of the office, and Pelton looks to you all expectantly.
You can pay us later.
Come along, Granddad. Not the time.
We walk.
Yeah. I guide her about.
The Viscountess gives you a look.
I hurry him quicker.
She turns back to the commander and
Slightly aroused.
Pelton.
Flushed.
Well, spoiler alert. No. Pelton shuts the door, and you can see the other inspector, the Cunez, the older dwarf with the white beard, who you talked to last night. He walks a little bit down the corridor and turns into an office on the left.
Sorry, just had a bit I'm turning into an office.
He walks down the corridor and turns into an office.
Roll initiative.
You was a mimic all along. I was an office this whole time.
What have I told you people about reading the Black Book of Secrets?
I walk into the office that isn't a mimic.
Yes, that was your first mistake. Now, you walk in, and this you can see that this office is fairly similar in size and in layout to the commander's. This one is, you can see it's very fastidiously kept. Everything is very neat. There is no dust. Everything is very set, very much set in its own place, very specifically. Kunes walks behind his desk, takes a seat, and Pelton joins him behind the desk, also looking at you all. Do you leave the door open or no?
I've gone in first, so it'd be rude of me to close the door.
I will close the door behind me as the rest of the group are in.
Okay. Pelton looks to Kunes. Kunes gives him a look back, then turns to you all and goes, "So, I thank you all for coming along. I just require a few bits of information from you. This will not take long." And he gets out parchment from a drawer, lays it down, goes through a process. He very specifically lays the paper down on the desk, gets out an inkwell and quill, places it in a very specific place on the desk, and then begins to write. "I require all of your names, please."
Well, I go first then. Drakensian.
Mm-hmm.
Velafyra. With a Y.
But not what you'd expect.
Starts with a V.
But not where you'd expect.
Ew.
Damerus.
Ester.
Herb.
It's just as well that no one else shares our names. Otherwise we need family names and
And I am correct in saying that you all work for the Golden Sails.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say it like that, but yes.
Oh.
It's just an odd name, that's all.
We get it. 'Cause, silver sails and...
Oh.
It's really very
Come on.
clever if you
Like the
think
coins.
about it.
Yes.
Quite. And how long have you all worked for the Golden Sails?
Well, now you're asking. Seriously, how long have we been there? We've been there a while. Like 6 months? Something like that? A bit longer, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
About a month for myself.
I think it's 2 or 3 days.
Interesting.
She is, yeah.
And you? How long have you been here?
I have been a member of the Peakstock Watch for well over 90 years. Very well. I do apologize for the abrupt nature of this all. We obviously were not expecting what has happened in the past few days, and well, the Watch appreciates your help.
You're oddly tense.
It's not that odd. Shit blew up.
Yes, a lot of stuff blew up.
Remember we had a bet about it.
That's
Yeah, what
true.
blew it up? Was it magical or not?
A bet.
Well, yeah, we're curious folk, and we came in and we saw the scorch marks, and we were wondering whether it be magic or kind of alchemical, as it were.
Is this what it's like when I don't shut my mouth?
Quite you.
Very similar.
Yeah. Interesting. You're going to need a full
It
cavity search now.
God, that tongue of mine. Yes. It's very different to back in your day.
It was magical in nature.
Ah, fuck. Yeah, that was the
That was
goal.
the goal.
Stupid fucking magic.
I told you. It would take too much chemical.
I'm glad you can make light of the situation. You've all worked for this company for as long as you all have been in Peakstock?
Mm-hmm.
Close enough,
I should say so.
Very well. We would of course have preferred had you been able to talk to the commander, but obviously that is not possible, and at this point you can just hear much louder noises from outside, and you hear footsteps approaching the door, very rapid footsteps. The door slams open.
This woman keeps following us.
She's
And
slightly aroused.
and this woman and her dragonborn bodyguard do indeed walk in.
This is some kind of completionism. She wants to do every floor on every door on every
Every time she
floor.
opens it, we're there. It's just like, what is that? You don't even work here.
It's almost as if she's part of the nobility and feels she can go wherever she likes.
What
Satire.
backstory?
So she walks in. He goes, "You are the ones who. You are mercenaries. Am I to understand that correctly? You do not work for the Watch. You are part of a company."
Yeah, we were hired as intermediaries for the Watch, my lady.
Because the Watch weren't capable of doing their jobs.
I mean, to be fair to the Watch, like that was the Red Rats.
Oh yeah, they do do their job. Watching.
Exactly. And the Red Rats said they would only deal with us. So here we are, and we got paid to do it. Yeah.
What are your names and who do you work for?
Can you just read it out?
My name's Vela. I work for
With
the
a
Northern
Y.
Sales. with a Y. But not what you expect.
Stephen.
The Golden Sails.
Yeah.
Inspector, hand me that document.
It should say exactly that on the document. That's what we just told him.
Like there's both of the like Cunez kind of there's a beat. Cunez hands over the document and Pelton kind of, in fact, Vela and Damerus, you would notice this, that Pelton just like it's very subtle, but he's she reads
I'm
over.
taken by the Dragon Ball again.
Pleases Damerus.
Huh?
This pleases Damerus.
Descent.
And she reads over the document, slams it back on the table. So, you are the ones who took charge of this. You are the ones to blame for this situation.
Now, my lady,
Wrong
I would
on
say
every point.
the Red Rats are the people to blame in this situation, first and foremost.
Nor were we allowed to take charge.
No.
We were told very specifically to follow the orders of the Watch, and that is what we did, my lady.
Pelton steps forward at this point and goes, "Viscountess," as it said, "what these individuals say is completely correct. I was the officer in charge of the situation. I take full responsibility for the failure of the operation."
Good on, Inspector Grumpy.
And the Viscountess looks at Pelton, looks at you all. She's just, you can see that her face is just flushed red, and she seems just barely containing her rage. And she looks at the inspector, looks at all of you, looks back at Pelton, and just she says, "I will be speaking to Count Trasilvo about this. Make no mistake, She glances back towards Pelton again, just her lip quivering, and just goes, "Nepotism." Turns on her heel, marches out.
Irony.
Other big words.
Was she a
The-
noble complaining about nepotism?
Yeah,
Is
well,
that
yes.
What just
Mhm.
happened?
Also, how is it nepotism?
She's also still very much in earshot with her big scary bodyguard.
I was going to say, when you shout back irony, the Dragonborn just looms over you.
It doesn't say anything though, does it?
But he gives you a look.
No, he just looks down at you, picks up the piece of parchment from the table, crushes it in his hand.
Now we have to.
Oh,
Drops
big
it on
man
your head.
pushing paper.
Will you need our names again, Inspector?
Yes, we've got 4 more times to get through.
And then, as he does this, he just pats you on the head, gives it a tiny little squeeze, and walks out the door.
He's a man of few words, that one, isn't he?
He's got no tongue.
Do we?
What? How did that not come up?
I'm not sure it's very important right now, Drake, but the man has no tongue, yes.
Do we know? Would we know that she is presumably his mother, the Baron's?
You were
Mother?
you were told that, yes, that
Okay, no, that's fine.
yeah.
How far down the hall has she got? Or how far out of the room has she got?
Excellent point.
She's just walked out of the room.
Okay, I'm gonna run to the doorway, hopefully in front of the Dragonborn, and just
As he
call out to her and just be like, "I'm sorry about your son. We're going to find him for you."
As you step in front of the Dragonborn, you immediately feel a massive, scaled, meaty hand just on your
So glad
shoulder.
to sit hand. Massive, scaled, meaty.
Trying to build tension. Once again, Alex Maude's king destroys it, as he is wont to do.
I'm
And
still gonna yell at you.
Sure,
He's
no.
holding me back.
she just turns around. Well, I hope that your intent proves better than your skills. She turns, walks out. The Dragonborn kind of roughly shoves you aside, looks down at you.
That wasn't a
Turns.
very good
I
burn.
see it
What?
now.
Oh, the
No,
no
don't.
tongue.
Follows her out.
Oh, you didn't know?
Not at all.
No, just.
Under my breath, I say, I'm kind of glad that little fucker's dead.
He's not necessarily dead. I say too loudly.
But who cares if he is?
Yeah, fucking blue bloods.
The inspectors are both just looking at the two of you.
Oh, right,
You're
sorry.
right.
Yeah. I
Q-
was only getting here for a reason.
Cuna's kind of, he stands up, picks up the scrumpled bit of parchment and does his best to sort of flatten it back out. Gets out of it, goes to sit back down, picks up another bit of parchment, starts recopying the information down. And as he's writing, he just says towards you, Drake, "You're not really one for thinking before you speak, are you?"
No. I find it gets away in the magic.
What?
Exactly.
Very well. Well, I believe that will be all. Thank you for your time. We will be continuing this investigation, and we request that you cooperate with the Watch at all future opportunities and make yourselves as available to us as possible. We may have further questions or tasks for you, depending on the situation.
Well, what's happening with the Baron? Aren't we going to go find him?
It's kind of their job.
Rest assured that we are doing everything we can to find Baron Callio. Both Inspector Pelton and I have taken personal responsibility for this matter. And not only the first precinct, but all of the Watch of Peakstock are dedicated to finding him again as soon as is possible. For now, however, we must recover and we must find new leads. This has just gotten much more serious.
Who was that person that she said she was going to tell on you to?
Do you mean Count Athelfane?
Uh-huh. He's kind of a big deal, right?
Off of House Athelfane.
You're not from around here, are you? At this point, Pelton perhaps goes, if you would follow me, I think my colleague has some more work to be getting on with them. Unless you have any other questions, Inspector? No, thank you, Inspector. That will be all. Pelton walks out and he turns into an office. Yes, on the other side of the corridor.
A lot of that going around.
And he just and he gestures for the five of you to follow.
Okey-doke.
He kind of stands inside his office, which is again very similar to Cunis's office. It's not quite as meticulously well kept, but it is still, you know, very neat. And you know, there's the waste paper basket is much more full than Cunis's is, and it's, you know, ever so very similar, but just not quite as freakishly tidy.
Well, let's begin. We've been in the Golden Sails for 6 months. This is Drake. This is Velafyra.
With a Y.
That's
But not where you think.
yes. Esther, that is not necessary, but I appreciate.
Oh,
your
is it
thoroughness.
not? Oh, who'd have thought it?
Well, he does. He just said.
You're perfectly free to go. I just thought that if you had further questions, I could deal with them. Count Athelfane is the youngest of the 3 Athelfane siblings, one of the great houses of the country, and he is considered the ruler and main authority in Peakstock.
Okay,
So,
Not a guy we want to piss off.
okay. But we haven't done anything.
I don't think it really matters to her.
Oh.
I
We
have-
should go tell him first that we didn't do anything wrong.
I have made it quite clear in my report that I am the one that is responsible for this mess. You did the best you could in the situation. I admit that I was suspicious at first, but I don't know. My instincts aren't telling me that you are involved in any of this.
That's very good of you. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yes, for all it's worth, I apologise for the roughness of my personality, Inspector. And thank you for taking the blame for this one.
That's rare. I shared a room with him for a month and he's never apologised to me.
Well, I don't have to apologise to you. You see me every day.
It is only the right thing to do. This is my fault.
I mean, kind of as Damerus was saying, right? It's not your fault. It's the red rats, like.
Yes. And who expected them... Who inspected really there to be a crazy tunnel underneath a wizard's tower? If it was abandoned like you said, don't be so hard on yourself.
I did.
That's because you're old and you've been there before.
Yes, you've probably been there before.
You just forgot and you didn't actually think about it, you just
I
remembered.
think I dug that fucker.
You know when that would have been useful? 2 days ago.
Ah, well.
No harm done. Well, is there anything we can do to help, kind of, as much as it wasn't our fault, like...
Is there anything that we can
do?
do in regards to helping find out who had attacked the precinct?
Yeah, or, like, I'm still not entirely convinced that there isn't someone you should be keeping your eye on in the watch as it is.
Yes.
You kind of just goes to the door, sticks his ear against it, walks back. It pains me to admit it, but I think you may well be right.
Ah, shite. That really happened.
It's always bad when it is.
I have no leads, I have no evidence, only circumstantial musings and deductions, and the signs all seem to be pointing that way, but I do not know where to begin. There are, frankly, too many suspects. And I do not know, frankly, of anything you could do in the immediate, but I would ask you to stay vigilant, and I would ask that, well, again, he just listens and lowers his voice once again. You didn't hear this from me, but you may hear from me.
Do I trust him?
Make an insight check.
I would also like to
I
get
think,
on this
yeah.
if I can.
For one of the very few times,
Anyone-
I will make an
Am I-
insight check.
Anyone who wants to make an insight check,
6.
please do.
Never mind even more.
Here's the keys to my house.
Would you be my best man?
Proficiency's still 2, isn't it? 3.
Yes.
Proficiency doesn't go
Yes,
till next
it's at 5, it goes up.
level. Oh, yeah, 5.
Modded 20.
Damn.
Also modded 20.
Damn, a Russ.
Damn, Damerus. So, and what did you get, Drake?
Oh, 5.
5, hooray.
Wisdom check, you say.
I didn't roll.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
happy to
Just
just
checking.
take it on face value.
Fine. The halflings, like, you're still, like, wriggling from the encounter with the Viscountess, and in general, like, you're feeling very sort of mistrustful of everybody at the moment, so you're not really sure. The two of you, I won't ask you to approach the DM, but the two of you, when he was talking about the idea of a traitor, and when he was talking, like, when he was, based on what you've seen of him over the past few days, he takes his duty seriously, and he seemed genuinely pained at the idea of there being some sort of traitor. Yeah, that's the impression you get.
Well, if there's anything we hear about the Red Rats, we'll be sure to report it directly to the Watch, like, maybe specifically to someone we know. I mean, you.
I may well send word to you at the Sailhouse, but for now I don't think there's much we can do moving forward, but this is, I'm sure, not the last we have heard of all of this.
Why did Cunis seem so suspicious of the golden sails? And the Viscountess. Positively taken aback.
Well, she's just a blue blood, isn't she? She's always going to be.
Yes.
Cunis is... He does not so much have an issue with the Viscountess, but he's been in the Watch for a long time, and he has, frankly, a great distrust of mercenaries. And the fact that we were, with all due respect, forced to work with a company such as the Golden Sails, reputable though you are, that does not sit well with him. Frankly, I would be lying if I said it didn't sit amazingly comfortably with me either, but needs must.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm sure we're not all mercenaries for life. We're all just doing it to make some coin, you know? It's not our...
And
I
see
don't
the
think
world.
that alleviates the concern if we're just
Well, I
in
mean, I'm a trained archaeologist, for God's sakes. I don't want to be marred as simply a mercenary my entire life.
That's fair.
In my experience, that is a rare sort.
Well, what you can do. I did have one question, kind of leading from what Ester said actually, because the Blue Bloods in my experience are always a bit haughty-taughty, but what did she mean by nepotism? Like,
Commander Jaina is my wife.
okay. But she said that when you said it was your fault, for not ours. I'm just kind of like,
I think that obviously the high workings and the high level workings of the Watch are one of the things that we keep the noble families informed of, and apparently Viscountess Callio does not approve of my close working relationship with my wife. For what reason? Well, I understand how it looks, but I can assure you that I have always kept my personal and my professional life separate.
you don't have to prove anything to me. She seems like a right stuck-up bitch. So, you know.
And the Viscountess.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
They mean just the Viscountess.
I absolutely did.
We haven't met
His wife is
Jaina
lovely.
properly, so you know,
Yes.
how
every
could we
time.
make any? She seems lovely.
Maybe just
I like
talking
her
about
hair.
The Dragonborn.
Yes, he's a right little bitch. Oh,
Yes.
big bitch. What's with the no tongue thing?
Yeah.
It's still bugging me.
When you finally saw it.
I didn't know you guys told me.
I don't know. That Dragonborn has been bodyguard every other time we've interacted with the Viscountess. I assume he's just a retainer.
But is it like a normal thing for the dragon ones? Like,
Not to my knowledge.
I say the ones I've met never went with the whole no tongue thing.
Yes, well,
Maybe the Blue Bloods don't want anyone super close knowing lots of, not
The-
being able to communicate intimate details.
I mean, imagine taking that job. Hi, I need you to guard me. Also, I'm going to cut out your tongue. Like, who says yes to that?
The
It's the last word you're ever saying.
The Spectorans can be violent. I don't know how it happened, and I don't care to ask, but the majority of Dragonborn that I've met who have crossed over from the Empire have, they've had good reason to flee.
It sounds like a nasty place on all accounts. Alright, Dapper, I just wanted to check it wasn't like a standard thing.
Not to my knowledge. Then I've never been across the sea.
That's also fair.
But again, I appreciate your help and just be vigilant. We don't know. We just don't know.
Well, if you need us, you know where we'll be. Unless we're off on an adventure. Then we won't be there. But
Yes.
we'll be back.
But-
Probably, unless we die.
Durmond at the Sailhouse would be the best port of call if you can't find us immediately.
Yes.
He makes a note.
Just as he's writing it down, he is to be trusted in all things.
You think?
One would assume so. He's a nice chap, isn't he?
He was the only other person aside from the Watch who knew of this is one of those things I shouldn't say out loud, isn't it?
Oh no, actually, that's a very good thought, but it's something we can maybe continue talking about later elsewhere.
I appreciate your advice, Damerus. Thank you. Thank you for all your help. I apologise if I have seemed short with you before.
You're going through some stuff. Everyone has their bad days. You're grand.
Who are you calling short?
You, Grandad. You're short.
Fair enough.
Anyway, thank you for coming in. If there is, unless there is anything else,
I don't know, we'll see ourselves out, shall we?
one moment. And he goes to the door and yells, "Lauren!" And the same watcher from before, Lauren, fourth watch of the first precinct.
Yes.
He comes like moving up pretty sharpish, gives a very sharp salute. "Yes, sir, Inspector. See these good people out, would you?"
I jump to the front and walk with him. And as I go, Lauren, good pal. So we were having a nice, lovely chat with the Viscountess, right? And I name dropped you, told her how helpful you were yesterday.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Make a deception check.
13.
Lauren turns to you as the Viscountess.
Yeah, you know how we were hired to save the Baron, right? And his mum came here, and you know how we were trying to get in yesterday, and you wouldn't tell us anything.
I was just following orders.
Well, you see, I just thought it'd be worth knowing that maybe if someone says they're helping to watch next time, be a little bit more forthcoming.
How in the God's names was I supposed to know something like that? What did you do? Go and just
Keep walking.
Keep your nose in your work, eh? I'm sure it'll all be fine.
I am not paid enough for this shit.
Goodbye, Inspector Pelton. We'll talk to you again, I'm sure. Look at us being friends.
Just keep one eye open. He shuts the door. The stairs turn into a mimic.
This place, man.
I don't turn into the office. I remain stationed.
Hey!
So,
I mean, it was good, but still.
Lauren continues to escort you out.
Yes.
I
continue to mock him.
And he leads you to the. You walk out up the stairs, out through sort of the main bullpen, out into the courtyard, through the blasted open doors, main doors to the first precinct, and he leads you back down the street to the outer perimeter. Hey, perimeters. To the outer perimeter, and goes, "Good day, 12 blessings," and immediately.
Oh, Lauren,
starts.
one last thing. I was joking about the Viscountess, just so you know. See ya!
He just.
April Fools!
Oh, but next time, remember I do speak to these people, so hook me up, yeah? Bye! And then I walk away.
You just.
A wave of devastation.
You think you hear just as you walk away, just a very distant.
I've made a friend for life.
I think you have. I honestly think your natural charms rubbed right off on it.
So, what would you like to do?
Well, that was kind of everything we had, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What's the time?
Mr. Wolf.
The time, I'd say at this stage, it's about 11 o'clock.
It's morning, isn't it?
Yeah. Because your appointment was for about 10, so.
Well, I called that lunch. We'll head back to the Sailhouse. It's about an hour. That'd be about lunchtime.
Yes,
Big cheese.
Ooh, big cheese.
we did split everything that we recovered while we were away, didn't we? Have we done that?
We haven't been paid yet. They were sorting out with Durmond, I think. or
Ah,
something
yes.
like that.
Yes.
We don't have the money.
Well, I also have.
But how much was it? Was it like 200 or something?
I think so. I
Was that
found.
each or all over? Or?
I think it was each, maybe. It was
That's
all
a
very
lot of money.
urgent. Yes, well, I mean, the.
Of course, after taxes, the fees, written board.
You weren't actually told the amount you were going to be paid.
I don't remember that. So it's 1,000 gold.
Well, maybe not that much, but I also have all of this that we.
Oh yeah, how much do we have there? You've got all the
That's
points.
quite a bit, about 30 gold plus some other coins also. So we can split it out into the pot, I guess.
Ah yeah, we'll keep it as the party gold.
Yes.
It's been working well for us for a month now.
Yes, well.
So,
Assuming it's
you take-
30. What?
Why would he lie?
Why would I lie?
Seriously, why would he lie?
I mean, I haven't counted the gold coins this morning. Is there something you're not telling me?
No.
Well, there we are then. To the Sailhouse.
So, you take your cart,
Yeah.
lead it,
Yeah.
lead it back towards the Sailhouse over the course of the next half hour, 45 minutes.
Well done, you. I call it liberating because we took them from criminals.
That's
so
true.
actually,
That's very true.
And you end up parking your cart behind the Sailhouse.
so glad we have a car.
You head in, and
I'm proficient in my vehicles.
so
Yes, you at the back of the car looking like.
Esther, would you get down? You're blocking the view.
So, at this stage, your time should be considered free. So, a couple of days is going to go by. You should feel free to do any sort of downtime activities you may wish to do. We can go over that now. You can anything you want to do. If not, we can move along.
The Cloudburst Games tournament.
Yes.
That occurs at like around, doesn't it? But there's like arenas and stuff.
Yeah. So there's the big arena district to the south, just outside the city walls, to the south of Peakstock.
It's not. It's like a few months away, isn't it?
It's just over a month away. It's about like so. Here are some lessons on the MaudeWorld Cordasian calendar. So the current day is like I'd say it's the 6th of Rindal, which is basically October. There are 30 days to every month, 12 months to a year, and the only thing that's kind of different to the Gregorian calendar is the fact that a week is considered 10 days. So each
3 weeks or a month.
Each 3 weeks for a month, yes. And the Cloudburst Festival occurs in the next month in Maithdas. On the 11th to the 20th of Maithdas, that whole week is the whole festival, and that's the equivalent of November. So it's just over a month away, basically.
Are there like qualifying rounds and stuff before then? Like, is there basically? I'm looking for an archery competition.
Like you.
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah. There are all sorts of competitions. That sort of thing. If you're part of a company like the Sales would probably put forward several different people and groups. So I'm afraid you'd probably have to talk to Carol about that.
Okay. Well,
and we
lived a good life.
Wait, where are you going? What are we doing?
I'm going to speak to Carol.
Why?
No, you're not.
No grandson of mine is speaking. I want to enter into team for the Cloudburst tournament and stuff.
Oh, right.
So
What's
I figured,
the Cloudburst tournament?
well, it's this big game, right? Well, games series, like an event where people from all over come and they play in like feats of skill and magic and other shit. And as the Golden Sails, I've recently been informed we'll have a team, and I'd like to be in that team because I'm pretty good with a bow. I don't know if it works like that.
Oh.
I don't know if it's like specific categories, but we can all go ask Carol if you'd like.
Now, so we should be a team.
I mean, I can
Well, we are a
quietly
team.
support you. Well, not quietly. Support you loudly from the stands. But it's not for me to
I'm happy if you want to join.
with.
We can be our little team. Anyone else fancy playing in the Cloudburst Games, Grandad? Maybe. I don't know why I want you there.
A bit too much spectacle for me, if you ask me.
Well, I get to kill.
Potentially, I don't know what we'd be doing.
You would know that like there would be sort of gladiatorial fights, so like fights against other people, other groups, monsters that are shipped in specifically for the festival.
What about the sounds of things from this voice in the sky? Yeah.
And I will get to speak to Carol.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this weird thing you have with Carol.
I'm interested.
Oh. Esther, can you come along and keep him safe? Also, awake
There'll be people watching.
a little bit.
That's my whole deal.
I mean, a little bit wouldn't be too bad. How many,
Okay, that may have been an
how many
understatement.
people is a little? 5?
Well, it may be a little bit at
5,000.
first, but then if we end up doing well,
5,000 what? 5,000 gold for the 5 people watching.
5,000 sets of eyes of people watching.
But that'd
us.
slowly be
More
less
like-
and less eyes. I killed the people that were looking at you.
More like
5,000,
10,
that would be
Ah.
very impressive.
and that's just in the Tempestone arena itself.
10 people.
That was
10,000
5,000.
people.
The Tempestone capacity is 10,000.
Oh,
Thunderdome.
How many?
disembodied
10,000.
voice, that's a lot of people.
That's a big number.
Oh, I don't.
Just for comparison, the population of Peakstock is about 90,000.
I don't know, Drake. That's
If we're not,
that's a.
it might not.
That's
be for
fine.
us.
I'm happy to go, and if Velafyra wants to come with me, and my granddad, I guess. Also,
I fucking kick ass, and you know it.
Yeah,
He does. He does.
I know it's worrying.
Damn right.
He might hurt himself.
I think he's going to hurt other people before he hurts himself.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking they're mutually exclusive. I don't doubt the damage you can do.
That's true.
But you might break a hip in the process.
The more people that get hurt, the better.
Only if they're bad people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? Fine, fuck it. Let's do it, the three of us, and you can be the cheerleaders.
Yes, I'm happy with that.
I expect to see you with the pom-poms.
Well, something like...
Drake, he's
yes.
our man. If he can't do it...
Herb can.
God, you can't be fighting and the cheerleader.
Yay!
Right, let's go see.
You say to arguably the most acrobatic member of the party.
Look, you don't see him as much as I do, right? Right, let's go to Carol.
Do I have to come? Are we all going, or is it just the three of you?
That's terrifying. That's how I imagine she actually sounds.
Is it just the three of you, or do Esther and I need to come?
You know what? I wouldn't
Do I have
force
to-
it. We have to go speak to
Can't you
Carol.
just-
You would all know that if you want your money,
Oh, right.
Oh,
We also need to get paid.
Got it.
So,
Oh no, yes, Durmond did remind me. We do need to all go and see Carol.
Carol handles the
oh,
finances.
there you go. So we gotta go anyway. Don't worry, you're with your friends now.
Yes,
We're
that's
all
fine.
here.
The three of you can.
I say that, it's probably lower like, don't worry, you're with your friends now. I'll reach your shoulder.
The three of you can bring it up with her when we see her after lunch.
Yeah, lunch, good shout. Always calms the nerves.
Okay.
I want to go check on the horses before we go for lunch.
Okay. So the horses are like they've been like this sort of this area around the back of the Sailhouse.
By the bins.
But then, yeah, it's like
No!
it's a very rudimentary stables isn't even the right word. It's just a small fenced enclosed area. Paddock, sort of, but it's not even really a paddock. It's like there is some there are some hay bags and stuff available for the horses, but it's very rudimentary. Like
Okay.
you'd
So just like a courtyard, we should have stuck a trough in and some hay.
pretty much.
It's a
Like
grass.
no, it's stone. Like again, you'd want to store horses and stuff. You'd want to take them to a stables.
Okay. I'm just gonna grab a couple of handfuls of hay.
Okay.
And feed it to the horses. And just ask them how they're doing.
You can communicate roughly.
Yeah.
You casting speak with animals, or you
No,
just going,
I'm just gonna have just
"We
a...
good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we good."
Nay. No.
Make Vala, make an animal
Nay.
handling check.
Oh no.
Can I roll again?
No.
Just cause?
No.
9.
Not how it works.
That's good.
Yeah. 9.
No. You think me some sort of merciful god? So you the horses they it takes a little bit of coaxing, but they take the hay, and the impression that you get is that they see it just like they're kind of like tired, hungry.
When they say
Wanna-
hungry, I'm gonna get
Want
more
to go
hay.
somewhere else?
I'm gonna get some more hay. And give them a little ruffle on the neck hair.
They seem to like it. Like you have a way with animals, but they're fine, but they're just I think they're just a bit fed up.
Okay. I would also like to braid their tails.
Okay. They
Look amazing.
they do.
They now look beautiful.
Make a dexterity-based performance check, please.
Oh no.
Okay. Oh god! I'll do that again. Okay. This is a straight 14.
14.
It's better than my animal handling.
They look pretty good. The horse, and the impression that you get from the horse is kind of just like, huh?
I look fancy.
I mean, again,
That's
it's
a nice horse butt.
Damn, Gerald, do you see what we did to our butts?
That's what they sound like.
Oh, them other horses will be jealous of our butts.
Oh yeah!
Damn! Look at it.
Oh nay. But yeah.
You wait till I go for my next branding, and then I'll be like, shit!
Why are they like this?
Because they got braided tails.
I wasn't talking about the horses.
Touche.
Yeah, but they seem to not mind that you're braiding their tails.
Okay. I'm going to try and do something about getting you a more comfortable place to stay.
Okay.
Bye. I know that we're going to go speak to Carol, so that's going to be interesting.
So are
Your
you
goodbyes.
are you going to speak to Carol?
After lunch.
Yeah,
After
but
lunch.
you're all going to speak to Carol after
Yeah,
lunch.
well, yeah.
Okay.
So we get paid.
So big cheese makes you lunch. It's wonderful, as you would expect.
So cheesy.
Make a persuasion check.
17.
17.
Oh, girl.
Second one.
You got
Big
second lunch.
Big
Probably
cheese,
just leftovers, but it's enough.
big cheese
You don't already
comes
have
over to you,
his.
sees you making the He goes, right, okay, fine, but you do realise that Carol's going to catch on to this eventually.
Nah, it's probably fine.
Right, your head be it, lad, and he goes off and gets you pretty much leftovers, second lunch.
What are you eating?
Don't know.
Maybe
Probably my last meal.
Look,
But it's
once-
delicious though because it was big cheese who
Oh
made
yeah,
it.
he does the best.
Yeah, even the leftovers are they're almost somehow better than they were yesterday.
I think this is literally just a big piece of cheese.
Spiced potatoes.
Potato.
That's dangerous.
Spiced potatoes.
Those are two things that are dangerous close to a reference.
Yes.
But yeah, Big Cheese sort of just comes up, puts a hand on your shoulder, and goes like I said, I'm fine, but you can only take the phrase food and board so far.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just keep that in mind. Right. Afternoon all. See you later.
Afternoon, Mr. Cheese.
Missed.
No, I know. I know.
I've not had that before.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's better than Mr. Big.
I mean, that's also true. Anyway,
Little cheese.
Yes. Afternoon.
Cheese from
afternoon.
far away.
So,
That's great.
do you all go to see Carol?
I finished my second lunch and then yes.
Do you think maybe they'll let you have second lunch when we start bringing more money into the guild?
I don't know. I think they're barely letting me have it now, but I'm getting it.
But we're also barely bringing money into the guild at the
Well,
moment.
we don't know about that. We've brought in enough to pay for ourselves for 6 months. We were doing fine before you arrived.
Oh no, I'm aware.
Apparently. He may have broken some things and soiled some things and alienated some people. And I may have gambled some stuff and spent some money. But I think we broke even.
I've healed a lot of people.
Yeah, that's just actually just genuinely helpful.
I'm kind of helpful. It brings
Oh,
something
yeah,
back
but-
out of an
I'm in
ordinary
about
and
three.
ruin, you know.
You're actually good at valuing things. I mean, out of the three of us, it's a miracle they kept us as long as they did.
Well, let's go and see if we can stretch that miracle a bit further, eh? Let's go and talk to Carol.
Granddad, none of this mischief. I know what you're like.
Yeah, what is this? Are you into Carol?
I'd like to be.
Oh. Well, at least we got that one out of the way.
Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. So, you go out into the out of the mess hall into the foyer. Durmond's office door is closed. It's kind of like the front door is kind of straight in front of you. As you walk out of the mess hall, to your right is kind of like a front desk, and Durmond's office is right behind that. And then on your left is another door.
So before I go in there, I would, if at this point actually having remembered, I'd probably go to Durmond's office, knock on the door.
Enter.
Hey, Durmond.
Hey.
You got a second?
Yeah, of course. Come in. Alright. Yep, of course. Come in.
Just is anyone with him?
No, it's just him.
We went to the guard this morning, as we were saying.
Oh, the first precinct.
Yeah, so we went to see the inspectors there and Viscountess. What's her name?
Callio.
Callio.
Oh yeah, she turned out not a fan of the guard or us. What with her son being missing, presumed dead. So she
Why you?
is gonna go report to Count Atlafane and be all like pissy or something. Now, Pelton, good man that he is, did point out that we were only foiling orders, so it was on him. So
This is the inspector.
yes, that's the one, Inspector Pelton. Yeah. So it shouldn't be a problem, but just so you know, she's a little bit. You know how blue bloods are. They can be a little bit testy.
Yes, except they don't like the phrase blue bloods either.
Oh, yeah, but I don't speak to him, so it's fine.
Or testes.
Not what I said, Grandad.
Well,
You hear from the hallway.
What?
well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. No, I appreciate that.
Oh,
Drake. I can handle it, and
It's just in case they brought, some of the names. They weren't a fan. Well, you know how they are anyway. They weren't a fan of the mercenary company.
no, I understand. But as far as positions go in this city, the Viscountess can scream and shout all she wants, but Count Atlafane's not an idiot, and I expect that. Well, I think it'll work out, but I appreciate the warning.
All right, good. Oh, and one last thing. They think there might be a mole or something in the watch. Even Inspector Pelton's come around to our way of thinking about that one. So he might be sending super secret missions to us to help out with that. And we said if we weren't here to let you know about it. So if there's a secret message from Inspector Pelton, maybe don't share it with the rest of the watch in case there's spies. I think that's pretty much it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yes, that is exactly what was on my mind, Mackenzie. Well done.
Were we all in there or just you, Drake?
I went in, I don't know.
I mean, you
corridor.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're standing outside, sort of in the foyer. You
just
could
waiting for Drake.
You could very easily overhear all of this.
Yeah.
I did. I went back
Esther-
outside, opened the door. Is that about right? Yeah, I guess.
Yep,
Cool.
that's it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Can Esther have sidled in as soon as she heard him starting to talk about this?
Sure.
Sidled over and had a very, very close look at Durmond's face.
You
through the
paranoid
duration.
motherfuckers. Make an insight check.
Just curious.
I'm not.
I trust him.
17.
17.
I know.
He
Says a lot.
he turns into a dragon. He seems
You die.
he indeed it's not an office. He can't turn into an office when he's already in an office. But no, he seems concerned to hear this. But yeah, that's about the extent of it. Concerned to hear this and sort of taking in the information.
Oh yeah, it's also obviously to do with the red rats. What with them being the bad guys who stole the Baron.
Yes,
The
no,
traders,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
This well, Carol's always telling me to think about these jobs before I take them. And of course we're going to attract more trouble, aren't we? But we deal with that as it comes.
Also, if there is any, sorry, I don't mean to eavesdrop in the corridor, but if there's any further jobs with the watch, with whoever, any inspector they come through, could we politely ask they're redirected to us? Just, I'm sure Drakensian told you. The whole,
Well,
The super secret spy thing. Yeah,
yes.
I told him about that one.
we'll see how it goes, as always. I mean, work is light right now, but I imagine we've got another few things coming up. The Viscountess,
Yes.
she said she was going to talk to the Count about you.
well, yes, so she does know our names.
Yeah, she has that. She has that.
She used her hoity-toity powers to take a piece of paper from the inspector's desk that had our names on it.
No,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
she
think
left
we
it
took
there. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
And
but
then
no,
she
she,
married
she read it. She probably knows who we are.
Well, she cares.
Yeah.
They're not. Her kind are normally not like that.
That's true. I hope she does.
At this point, Durmond just starts sort of looking through some of the papers on his desk. Okay. No, this is... Okay. Fine.
She also wasn't a fan of Pelton. Apparently he's married to the watch commander or something.
Yes, no, that I didn't.
Oh, no, I had heard that. Yes.
Yeah. She
Also,
wasn't a fan of that. Or something.
Not overall as grumpy as my first assessment had
He seemed like a stand-up guy, actually.
Yes, at the end of it all.
Wasn't someone who didn't meet your first expectations, Damerus. That's never been heard of before, now has it?
Wait a
All
minute.
right,
Is
fine.
this a point? Did I not meet them first either?
No, I mean, like when you're always trying to get something else out of people. They try and give you something on the face value, but I understand it now. It's fine. I get it.
What was it you called me that night a couple of weeks ago?
I mean, why don't you remind the class?
Something about blustering old idiots.
I mean, in that specific example, what we were talking about, you were wrong, but also you are my employer, so you were right.
Thank you for pointing that out.
I'm
I
more
thought
to
you said
myself.
blithering old idiot.
That was.
I thought you said blithering ancient idiot.
No, that was me talking about her.
Oh, that one works.
And
Sorry,
that's
man.
absolutely fair enough.
Yes.
Look, just because I'm technically the oldest person in this room doesn't mean that I'm ancient.
I didn't say it. He did it.
I said it a couple of days ago.
Oh, and you said something else. Not
he's
to
only
tell
got older
you.
since
Oh,
then.
shit.
Anyway, thank you for bringing that to my attention, Drake. Yes, well, you're all free to do what you want. Payment hasn't come in yet, but it should come in, I expect, either by this evening or by tomorrow, so...
That means we don't have to go and see Carol now.
Well, yes, but there's one thing. You know the whole Cloudburst Games thing?
The festival, aye.
Yeah, do we enter a team or something for that?
You're looking to enter that?
Ah, yeah.
Hmm.
I'm good with
Okay.
the bow.
No, that you are, I know that. Okay. Oh, okay, fine. No, that's, that'll be interesting. Okay, no, I'll talk to you. I mean, I don't know who else is entering from the guild, but...
Me too!
Yeah,
I
Bella
want
wants
to play!
Were you all interested?
Not Esther and myself.
Yes.
We're going to watch from the stands.
Very well. Okay,
Yes.
I'll make a note of that, and I don't know exactly how all the organisation of it's going to work just yet, but I imagine we'll be receiving notices of that as, you know, a prominent company within the city. We'll probably be receiving notices of that within the next week or so, so I'll let you know, and
Right.
depending on when other people get back and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Now we don't have to go see Carol. Would you let us know when payments come in? I don't want to bother Carol unnecessarily.
I do.
Or...
That's why we don't want to bother Carol unnecessarily.
Then Herb, you are quite possibly the bravest man in all of Libraria.
Thank you.
Well,
Not what he meant.
brave or stupid.
Scare arousal is a powerful motivation.
Line of the night. I'll sure. Like I say, I expect either by this evening or by tomorrow. If not, I'll be sure to chase it up.
The horses aren't very happy.
The horses on the cart.
Mhm.
Oh right, okay. I'll see to that, lass. We have a stables. We stable all our horses at. I'll be sure to get Big Cheese to send them over.
Where is it?
Oh, it's over in Market Hill. Just
We stored the cart there too.
I mean, Market Hill's quite a way on the other side of the city. You might be best just leave. I mean, if you're perfectly, as far as I'm concerned, group of you on the cart. If that ever changes, then we can discuss it. But as far as I'm concerned, that's yours. So you can keep it out back if you want.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking...
Very difficult to get it over to the horses without
that was
them
what I
being
was
there.
thinking.
Well, take it over to them. I'm sure there may well be space over there as well. I'll see to it that Big Cheese gets that stored there as well.
Thank you very much. I like
And
that.
sure, yeah,
Appreciate it.
we'll consider that part of your of our cut, so to speak. So
Perfect.
you don't have to worry.
Thank you.
Well, thanks very much. That was everything.
Not at all. Anything else?
I've I'm not sure I've asked this. Is it possible to send do we have a mail call? We send letters out, or does Peakstock deal with that themselves?
To what end?
Just somewhere within the Kingdom of Damerus, not too far.
Oh, again, give us the letters and we'll see to it they get sent out.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
I'll bring it down before the end of the evening.
Not a problem. Cool.
Perfect.
You take care now. He goes back to his work.
Yeah, we leave.
Yeah.
Well, it seems we've got some time to kill.
Yes.
So for the sake of brevity, I will say that payment does come in later that evening, and so we can deal with that, or we can deal with any other things you may want to look into.
Roll.
I think I have a deck of cards as part of my thing. I suggest we play cards for the afternoon if anyone's got anything.
Yeah.
Other preferences.
Yeah. Damerus disappears at some point to
write a
write a letter that I will hand off to the DM at some point.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, good to know. That's sorry. That's I'm excited at the prospect of that. So
Handoffs to the DM.
yes, always, Alex, always.
I knew there was a reason for where the
Do the
gold
Golden
camera rules.
Sails have an armory?
Yes, they do.
Like, so they just have standard equipment that we can take and borrow and use and stuff?
Yes, you do know from jobs that you've done before is that the armory is downstairs on the lower floor. You do know that like all sort of equipment requisitions and other things tend to be handled by Carol and tend to be sort of discussed like post any job you've done. Like you've been like she has in the past asked, you know, how many arrows have you used?
I can see
Okay.
you've
That's my question. I've lost 4 hours.
I can see you've requisitioned a cannon. Why?
But yeah, all of that is handled by Carol. And you, based on previous experience, has been handled after other jobs you've done.
So, but it's in theory, is that, do I know from experience, as long as I can justify it, like if there's a sword there and I want to take a sword, I can take the sword sort of thing?
Yes, you have to pay for equipment, but yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So, evening comes. Are you all sort of, just for flavour, you're all playing cards in the dining hall, in your room?
Yeah.
Cool. So, Durmond comes in and goes, there was a watch hand who just came by. He just dropped off the payment.
Sweet.
Anything else? The watch hand?
Actually, yes. He said it was a same chap who came here in the first place. A chap called Dallin said to pass on his regards.
Oh.
Nice fellow.
Said that.
Or is he?
He said he used to be part of the second precinct. He's now been transferred to the first. So
Good for
I'm
him.
fine with that.
Nice.
Well,
Lost the fourth.
unless you give him what's happened.
Probably bad for him.
Yeah, probably not great.
No.
Well, the first precinct did lose 3 watch hands in the attack.
Yikes.
Right, well, let's call this game. Velafyra is winning too much anyway.
Yeah!
Okay.
Beginner's luck.
Yeah, you still don't know what you're doing on every hand. I don't know how you keep winning it.
I just do what feels right. I can't talk to cards like I talk to animals, though.
Good to know.
Yeah, only animals. And humans. And tieflings. And halflings.
Good to know as well. What about elves?
Anyone who
and you-
speaks common
and you
or
just- and you also-
elvish or...
You just hear from the foyer and dwarves.
And dwarves!
Look how happy you sounded now. Right, shall we go speak to Carol then and get our payment?
Yes, let's. Whew. Well, I
During
would
the
say-
game, Harv's been using his calligraphy tools.
Of course he has.
Scribble something that he's sort of deliberately been hiding.
That's fine. Actually, I have Fletcher's tools. Can I use them to make arrows throughout the afternoon? I need 4.
Do you have materials?
I don't know. I haven't bought any.
No.
No.
Wow. No.
I bless up to 3 creatures of my choice before we go in to see Carol.
Okay, I believe bless only lasts a minute.
So as
we
we
might
open
only
the
last a
door-
minute.
That minute we open
Brave
the
as
door.
hell for that first minute
Okay.
of the conversation.
Okay.
The three who were chosen.
I absolutely love that this has been built up so much. Who do you bless, Esther?
Drake, Damerus, Velafyra.
I like that
Okay.
you did the look and then nope, you're on your own.
Okay.
What's
So-
the best do it for us again? Is that the D4? That's
yeah.
correct, isn't it?
Yeah. Only saving throws, but you never know. It is Carol.
So,
Or attack rolls. I mean, it depends how it goes.
Also, it is Carol.
do you really want a TPK now? So
No.
you so
Abandon hope all you enter here.
So you go to the back into the foyer. You turn left and open the door, and there is a corridor beyond, at the end of which is another door, and this corridor is red carpeted and very dimly lit. There don't appear to be any other passages off this one that you know of. You open the door. You walk down the hall. And come to the door you know to be Carol's office door.
I'm gonna stand behind you.
Yeah, what's the marching order?
I will go
Herbs.
first.
I will take it.
I will take the opening of the door to Carol's office.
I'll go second.
Herb is busy here.
It's like 3 strands of hair.
And like really long eyebrows. Twisting them.
Okay. So, you knock on the door. There's a brief pause, and then you just hear, "Who is it?"
I like poke you with a leg.
And as you poke me, I kind of have that like I say in Infernal, Damerus Silverthorn and his companions, Drakensian, Herb, the new girl, and Ester.
And Vela!
You speak
You,
Infernal?
I was
Nope. You didn't say my name, but I heard
No,
everyone else's
I
name.
said the new girl, and I was talking in Infernal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I mean.
that's why I said my own name, because I didn't hear you say my name.
To be fair, you went Dickensian.
yeah. I would assume that yes, much like
I don't think names really translate very well into
No.
Infernal.
I like that's why you
Drakensian, also known as
to give my devil name. So, again, there's another very brief pause, and then enter.
I open the door.
So the door opens, and you all walk into Carol's office, and you've been in here before, of course, but you're always struck by how very dim the room seems. Like there is red carpet on the floor. There is a very fine wooden desk, and there is a fireplace, but there are no windows as such. There is enough. The fireplace creates plenty of light, but it still feels somehow dim and intimidating. There are no. It almost feels as if if there were windows, which there aren't, were very heavily curtained, blocking out much of the light. But there is a very fine desk and a lot of bookshelves on the right hand side of the office. The fireplace being on the left side.
What
And
does it
behind-
smell like?
It actually smells rather pleasant, but it's a very pungent odor of incense, sort of throughout the room. And behind the desk, you see Carol. Carol is a tiefling woman. Red skin, curved back horns, very neat black hair, fastidiously kept. A fairly tall woman. She's about she's about your height, Damerus. She's about 5'11".
Same horns, same height.
Yes.
Not that Damerus does that.
No,
God
no.
damn. he is terrified.
He values his life.
He does.
However,
And
very
very,
very similar to himself. Could be related.
and very, very pale white eyes. Not blind, but just in that tiefling way of how their eyes tend to be monocolored. But
Are your eyes monocolored?
They are. They are just black.
Damn.
That's me.
thank you for that, Sara. Totally, Sara.
Yeah, I just heard that. Damerus, Damerus, Damerus.
Damerus. And so yes, Carol is just sitting there writing. And again, you sort of flash back to Cunis's office, and this office is also fastidiously clean, very well kept, and there is a what languages do you all speak?
Common and halfling.
Uh-huh.
Common, infernal, and elvish.
Common, Elvish, and Sylvan.
Elvish common.
Common, halfling, and dwarven.
Dwarven. So, Herb, you one of the things you notice is behind hanging up on the wall, but behind Carol's desk is a framed and covered document, very well kept and written in Dwarven. And this you've noticed it before. It talks about. It appears to be some sort of certificate, some sort of legal certificate giving her permission to practice law. And it appears to come from the Durmond clanship, which is the country to the north of Damer, very dwarven country. Carol sits there writing. She then, in a very large book, she sets her quill down, steeples her hands as such, looks at you all and goes, good evening. How can I help you all?
Durmond sent word. Apparently, our payment for the watcher's job is in.
Yes. Very well. She then, from somewhere underneath her desk, she sets out five coin purses. Very well. So, Dracanzian, how many arrows do you require this time?
Just a 4 this time, please.
4, very well. Makes a note. Opens up one of the coin purses, removes a few coins, closes it. Are there any other equipment requests that you have?
I don't think requests necessarily. We did. What was the word you used, Dragrenzian? Not acquire, not steal.
Liberate.
Liberate. We
Earn.
liberated / earned. Thank you, Herb. A cart from the Red Rats. Yeah. If you could maybe, I'm happy for it to come out of my share. Look at getting a new bridle for the horses for them to use on the cart.
Durmond said that you would very kindly add it towards the stuff, not the things.
I will see to it. Since that is done, I will take that out of your next earnings.
Of course. Of course. Thank you.
She also gets out 5 sheets of parchment, placing them underneath each of the bags, slides them across the table, and she does all of this in a very rapid fashion. Slides them across the table towards you all, and goes, very well. There are all of your earnings and all of your receipts. If you have any questions, please look over and ask them now. I am very busy.
Does everything looks in order?
So
I can only assume that everything is in perfect order as it always is.
Everything is in perfect order, and you can see everything is very meticulously itemized. So here's what happened. So the earnings are so don't write anything down just yet. But the job is you were paid 150 gold pieces each. The guild takes a 30% cut, which covers administration, their fees, food and board, and so forth. So that leaves you with 105 gold pieces as standard. Drake, you have lost 2 silver for your arrows. Damerus, you also see a on your
Smart ass deduction.
on your receipt. Underneath everything else, there is a. It says for the theft of a as reported by and it says a specific watcher. Blah 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 blah. For this theft of a fisherman's basket, as reported by blah 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 blah. And it says underneath deductions: 5 copper pieces, cost of materials, 2 gold pieces, fine.
Can I?
Oh, they think you're fine.
I haven't offloaded that basket anywhere. Can I quickly run and get it before the group have to leave Carol's office? I can only assume it's in my room because I wouldn't be carrying a wicker basket on my person.
Sure. So you turn to head out of the room.
Yeah.
Yes. Damerus, where are you going?
It was a theft for good reason, but I'm sure I can just present you with the basket itself in lieu of the fine. Maybe.
The transaction is already completed.
It's quite a nice basket.
The man has received compensation, hence cost of materials, and you have been fined for this minor transaction, as evidenced.
Of course, no problem. Thank you, Carol. Well, Drakensia, that means we have a nice basket for the room now.
Yes, that's good. We are running out of storage.
Well, we can use it to keep soaps in and stuff like that.
Yes, we should get some.
We should
store them.
Those fishermen are such grasses.
Might I recommend in future, Damerus, that you pay the exorbitant cost of 5 copper pieces should you wish to have your own basket rather than feeling the need to steal one from an innocent fisherman.
We have our own now.
I understand. And you throw the word innocent around willy-nilly like you didn't have this fisherman talk to you. I'm sure if this fisherman came to your
this
office...
report that I have received from this watcher is inaccurate.
Well, no, I'm sure the watcher has done his duty and reported as such, but I paid that fisherman a lot of money for fish. And he took me for a ride and he charged me much more than the common price for fish. So naturally I took the basket. So I'm sure you can,
So you think that stealing from a fisherman for a deal that you clearly did not think too strongly
Ester's
about
hand,
is
and I take Velafyra's
somehow
hand,
not your
and I
fault.
slowly back us away from that Damerus.
Herb gets into the basket.
Look, character in a bowl.
In a ball.
Next week on MaudeWorld.
Yeah. Yes, fine. Of course, no. My mistake, Carol. My mistake indeed. I will pay the fine.
She opens up one of the bags, takes some coins out of the bag, closes it again, and you almost think you see a tiny little smirk at the corner of Carol's normally very stoic face, and she just goes, "You already have."
I assumed that, and I just just goodbye, Carol.
Goodbye, Damerus.
See you again soon, my dear. And I'm way up the corridor before.
You feel, even then, you don't know how, but you feel her eyes burning in the back of your head.
Carol, just one other thing.
Yes, Sir Cantian?
We was chatting with Durmond about the Cloudburst games and submitting a team and stuff like that. I just wanted to check, do we need to check with you about any of that? Or is just talking to him with me that you know?
You wish to compete?
Yeah, me, Velafyra, and me uncle who's currently hiding under a basket.
That's Grandad to you.
I was trying to give you less old.
Very well. Your interest has been noted. When the appropriate paperwork comes through, I will inform you of the decision.
Thank you very much.
Unless there is anything else.
Do I know from experience that because she's got rid of that, I've got like a receipt from her end that I can then go to the armory and say you owe me 4 arrows?
Yeah, it's very much sort of a trust system.
Oh, okay.
Like,
because no one's gonna go over Carol.
yeah, pretty much. Like people have done that before, and she has come down hard on them. Like they know that they will be punished if theft occurs. So yeah, like the armory is kind of locked, and people have to get the keys from one of the staff or some other people. But yeah, like. You take. It is. If as long as it is down in Carol's book, you can take the appropriate things. So yeah. Unless there's anything else.
Thanks very much.
Good evening.
I take the basket off.
Herb stands there.
I'm removing that basket from my inventory because I'm never getting it back.
I'm adding that basket into my inventory.
Herb approaches the desk, puts the folded parchment on it, slides it across, and then scuttles out of the room.
The door, as you were the last one to leave the room, the door then, without Carol does not get up from her desk, and the second you're out of the door, it just slams shut.
Hello.
Yes?
What was on that piece of paper?
Mind your damn business.
That seems quite a rude thing to write to Carol.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone with that one. Maybe I like you or something.
How did you know?
What?
You mind your damn business.
Fine.
When we get back to the room, will there be a piece of paper telling me to mind my damn business?
You're fucking right, there will be, yes?
Good.
I'll write it on your face.
How would I read it?
In a mirror.
It would be backwards.
No, it would.
Wow.
Very good.
Do you write
Proficient.
That's so not what you went to use calligraphy tools for.
Drawing on mouses' faces.
I know, Esther's face. There's a lot of writing going on.
I want
Speaking
to
of which,
spend
can I
my
have a
money.
pencil, please, to write my money down?
So yes,
thank you.
Herb, Ester, Velafyra,
Let's go
you
shopping.
all have 105 gold pieces at your inventory. Damerus, you have 102 gold pieces, 9 silver and 5 copper, and
1048.
1048. Yes. Yes, every Carol keeps meticulous track of every copper piece.
Would I know from experience, again, if I know that I can buy it from the armory, would I assume that I can actually the best price I'm probably going to get in the cities from the armory, given I'm part of the company?
Yeah, like that's...
They basically sell almost at cost at that point?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. That's,
Cool.
at cost, almost what you might call market or PHB price.
Yeah, rather than selling over and...
Yeah, no, they don't. They just...
Set cost, cool.
They just... you reimburse the cost, basically.
I'd like to go to the armory then.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, easily enough. You're...
There's other stuff I want to do there as well.
Okay, that's fine.
So, anyone coming with me? Or am I going to
I'll wander down with you.
Okay. So you head downstairs and you go to the lower floor of the Sailhouse. There is a very... it's mostly a very open area, this lower floor. It's mostly all one big room, but lots of different spaces. Obviously, it's a whole floor, so it's very large. There's a big sort of sand-filled ring, sort of ever so slightly dipped down to the floor. There's basically a sparring ring with a couple of seats around it. There's training dummies. There's archery targets. Various other sort of things of that that nature scattered throughout the large room. Toward the armory is towards the back. And it's easy enough. You grab a key from Durmond. You head downstairs towards the back and open up the large metal door towards the armory.
Cool. I'll grab my 4 arrows.
Yeah.
Does anyone man it, or is it again just kind of a trusty?
Nobody's manning it at the moment. It is capable of being manned, but no one's doing so at the moment.
Cool. Yeah, I want to do this then. So when I'm normally buying, again, do I go to Carol and say I would like this piece of equipment, or do I go to Durmond and say I want to buy this, or what have you? Or do I just take it and then say I'm taking these two, here's the money? What's my process? You
would probably clear it with Carol first, so I can say retroactively you did that.
Yeah.
I
want 2 hand crossbows.
2 hand crossbows, fine. I will look that up later.
Yeah.
I will make a note of
She
that.
gives me permission, basically.
And,
no problems with that, is it?
No.
Fancy? What are you taking those for? I mean, you look pretty cool.
Right, well, I actually want to go wander around town now, and, well, tomorrow, because it's the evening. But I want to get some holsters, because I'm thinking if I have to spend 2 silver and bloody arrows every time, at least if I can have 20 bolts and 20 arrows, I should be fine.
That's
I'm not with that.
fair enough, yes.
Also,
yes, you'll be the coolest halfling in Peakstock.
right?
And I assume probably in the rest of Tamar.
Exactly. But for now, they have no holsters, so these are useless to me.
Right.
I go put them in my room.
Well, we can I don't know, tie them to you with a
Yeah, I
with
can
a
probably
rope
put
like
one
a
in my
belt.
backpack or something like that. So I'd take the bolts as well.
Alright. 20 bolts?
Yeah, because I can only carry a maximum of 20 because I'd have one kind of quiver for arrows and one quiver for bolt. But I have plans. Super secret plans.
Oh no. That fills me with less excitement. So, anything else?
No, just 2 hand crossbows and 7 bolts.
Okay, cool. Anybody else?
At some point, I dropped my letter to.
To Durmond. Cool. Okay.
Did it say mind your business?
I can pass it. Oh.
I'm presuming it's evening now, isn't it? Because we waited till the.
Sat on a bottle top.
Yes.
Well,
Yes, it
gone
is. It
now.
is now. It's an hour, probably about 5,
Gone
6 in the
forever.
evening.
until I cough it out.
Shop's probably closed.
Probably, yeah.
Cool. Then I guess dinner in bed, unless anyone's got any things they want to do this evening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Food.
Food, glorious food.
Dinner beer.
Yes.
Yes, because
Dinner and beer, or just.
No, the dinner beer.
the
It
dinner-
comes with dinner.
Oh, no.
Your finest dinner beer, please.
Part
big
of our
cheese.
and board deal, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes.
so, yep. So the next day comes. Again, this is you should consider this day yours. It is free. Do whatever you want to do.
I'd like to go to the market and find a leather worker to make said holster.
Okay.
Or set of holsters, kind of thing.
So you walk into this tanner. See this.
I'd probably bring the crossbows and the bolt thing to show.
Sure. See, middle-aged human woman. She looks them over and goes, "Oh, I can. That's yeah, easy enough."
I'd like so I'd like a holster on each leg, and obviously on one of the legs, probably my left one, where the bolts would go as well, because obviously the quiver will be on my back.
Fine.
Well,
If you would just, if I could just take some measurements quickly. Yep, fine. Okay. Yep. Cost of materials, labour. You're collected here.
oh yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Then let's call it 10 gold pieces.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. You send a note to the golden salesman stuff?
Golden sales.
Yes.
Sure.
Sailhouse.
Sailhouse. Fine.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thanks very much.
Is there a.
Oh, is there an ETA on that, by the way? Any idea?
Couple of days.
Perfect.
Is there a school or a house of knowledge in Peakstock that Damerus would be familiar with?
There would be libraries. Probably towards over in Market Hill, I reckon there would be
Cool.
Be a library. Yeah.
If there's nothing going on in the daytime, Damerus would just kind of quietly make his way up to Market Hill, stop in at the stables just to double check that all of our stuff arrived.
I'm going to be going that way as well.
Okay.
And visiting the horses.
Yeah, I would like to also visit the horses briefly with Bella just to mark our cart in a way that Damerus would know. I'd just like to Like, I would just like to etch in, like, the infernal characters Damerus and Co. on the back.
Sure. No.
Do you come with me before you go?
If you'd like me to, I'll come with you.
Well, I think because I'd go with you to that. Cause the other thing I want
Oh
to do
yeah,
today
yeah.
as well,
I mean, will have wandered to you if
Cool.
if we are the going into town company.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will make this marking on the back of the cart just so that I'm aware. I mean, I'm sure if the group spent long enough looking at it, they would recognise the symbols as well. But I know that this is our cart if it disappears.
Yep.
Fine.
No, that's easy enough to do. Yep.
I make the Guatrine symbol as well.
Yes. Also easy enough to do.
Cool.
Alright. Vela, you
I'm
wanted
gonna
to?
hang out with the horses all day.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to go to a library and just start looking up any books on local history, on any like Lumerian ruins or anything like that. Just doing a bit of a cursory investigation of the area.
Sure. Make an investigation check.
So I don't know that Damerus will have done that yet, having been this far north.
Quite possibly.
He's just been trying to kind of, in my head, assimilate himself in the group.
Yes.
Or in the guild, at least.
Sure.
Natural 20.
Natural 20.
Yes.
You know all of this.
For that is a 23 total.
Okay. Your luck is shifting.
I mean,
You actually did your archaeological doctorate in Pigstock. I just forgot.
Cool. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You are able to do it. Searching through, the various and sundry shelves of this library, you are able to find some interesting tomes with a variety of information that I will send to you at a later date.
cool, great. Yep. If I have to check any of those books out, I will do, and I will give my name and say I'm staying at the Sailhouse. If there's any kind of restriction in how long I'm allowed to have these books out for, please do.
A week, sir, is the general general limit.
And I put 2 silver on the desk. Can we make it 3? Just
Perfect, sir. Yes, 3 it is. Very well.
thank you very much. Again, at the Sailhouse, if I forget.
And your name, sir?
Damerus Silverthorn.
Damerus Silverthorn. Thank you. Yes, that is fine, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much.
And you are taking yes. Very well.
All of these.
All of them.
I mean, if that's okay.
That's perfectly fine, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Very well. Yeah, 12 blessings.
12 lessons to you as well.
Okay. Sorry, just making notes.
So if we got to the stables, we both looked at the car things. You
Yeah.
you went to the library. You went to the
Carved them
horses.
and I left you guys.
I'd probably go back to the set house at that point,
Cool.
and just go to the archery range and just practice shooting in more and more extremely difficult circumstances.
Okay.
Training for the games.
Pretty much it.
So.
I call this one the shooting between the legs.
Okay. So. A few days go by. People still aren't back. And Durmond eventually comes to all of you and goes of a morning after
My
breakfast
house?
one morning. Sorry.
As my house to come in.
Yeah. I would say
Cool.
so.
I'd probably give her an extra gold when I go and pick it up. Say that.
Cool.
But I check it's obviously good. But
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah. No, it's yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Sure. So a couple of days go by, and Durmond approaches you after breakfast one day and goes, right, got another job for you all. If you'd come into my office, we can discuss it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, this is a bit of, I will say this is a bit of a 2 birds with 1 stone situation. I'm getting you out of Peakstock for a while. Out of the country, as a matter of fact.
What did Herb do?
Hit myself, but what's the problem?
Again?
Whereabouts are you sending us?
Thought I
You
smelled
just
something.
cleaned.
I just made poops.
There's a time and a place, Grandad.
Durmond is very much doing his best to ignore all of this from her.
Number toops.
I don't know how you're ignoring the smell.
Yes, we should.
He's a
Carry
man
on,
of strong constitution.
We'll be back in a
clearly.
few minutes.
It takes you off to deal with the situation.
Oh no!
It's poop.
I forget that.
Gods above.
Like Damerus and Connor always forget that Esther
It's like
is
the nurse.
the nurse.
There isn't enough advantage to award someone in the world sometimes. So, a few minutes go by, the two of you return. You alright now?
I'm more than alright. I'm quite chipper.
Good to know.
But don't get moving too fast.
That's how this whole bit started.
Anyway,
When your sphincter's as loose as mine, it'll just drop right out of you as well.
Someone
Anyway.
kill me before that happens.
So the job.
the
We live
job.
in the country, yes.
Hmm.
Thank Christ.
I don't know who that is.
I think he's a halfling god of woodworking.
Very good. So, no, it says, yes, as I say, two birds with one stone. This, I was expecting this sort of job to turn up around this sort of time, as it always does, but, given recent events, I think that you laying low for a while, somewhere away from the city, might be good for you.
Did you hear anything then from Her Ladyship?
Not yet, but who knows how quickly these things move. So, the cloudburst is coming up, as I'm sure you know, and every year that attracts a great deal of people for the games, and one of those things that needs doing is creatures that people fight need to be brought in.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to be a monster hauling team, is that it?
To a degree. I have a contact up in Corvushold. That's in the Durmond clanship, just north of here.
I've not been there.
Oh, it's a lovely place. It's where I'm from myself. I mean, not from Corvushold itself. I'm a bit further east, but my contact, a man by the name of Burden Corkspeak.
I wonder what his accent is.
It's demanding.
I'm sure it's a lovely one
It's a
too.
tough job.
He's
Very good.
he's been my contact for jobs such as this in the past few years, and that time's come around again. He's told me to send whoever it is, you, up to Corvushold. He'll meet you there. He's a male dwarf. He's about 100 years old. Really big red beard and hair, brown eyes, and you'll notice him because he's missing a little finger on his right hand.
Drake might not.
No,
What
I suppose
exactly
not.
do you mean by that? Has that wall always been just wood? I'm sure there used to be something. Oh, where did you get carpets? I'm sorry, I don't pay attention. What's happening?
You know, sometimes I think this sort of thing runs in the family.
So we're off to the Durmond clanship.
It's
Wow.
I don't know. It's all good.
He said to specifically to meet at in a tavern in Corvushold called the Maker's Grail.
Right. Is he expecting us?
Aye. Well, he's expecting people from the sales, and you give my name, he'll know I sent you. He knows I'm sending people. And the Count Atlafane, he sends out these writs every year asking for people to bring creatures far and wide. They get paid for it. So Burden's hired us for some escort work, for escorting him and for bringing the creatures back here to Peakstock.
What sort of creatures?
I mean, I don't know. He gets different ones every year. I mean, it could be some basilisks. Could be some, generally, mountain or, cave-based creatures, there's creatures scattered throughout the Yomunrus, but,
I've escorted cave creatures before and I charge extra.
Okay, you do know how this works, Herb. You do know that it's a that we decide on the rates beforehand.
And we have this conversation every time. We don't have negotiating power.
Alright, and if you want to escort a basilisk, then you'll see how you feel in the morning.
How would I feel in the morning?
Look, I can assure you.
What's about his sphincter?
Well, I'm sure after meeting a basilisk, it'll be rock solid.
Look,
Very good.
look. I've known Burden for many years. I knew his father very well. He's a good man, and we've done this sort of job for him several times before. It's a good working relationship. Shouldn't be too difficult. But gets you out of the country for maybe a week.
Speaking of us leaving the country, how are we going about doing that? Obviously, we know we simply just travel there, but are we taking our cart? Are we heading to the sea, or...?
You can take your cart if you wish. He gets out some very official-looking documents signed and stamped, and he goes, "Carol has drawn these up. You present these to the border guards, and they should let you through without incident. You're going on business. But just make sure you keep these papers on you. Had an incident a couple of years ago, nothing too serious. It got all sorted out, but I'd rather not have to spring anyone from jail."
That's fair. It's not a pleasant place to be.
Yes.
I assume you're all good for it.
All right.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I believe so.
I don't know the exact details, but Burden's written to me, and he should be able to give you more details when you arrive.
Right. I guess we'll leave this evening or tomorrow morning.
Sooner the better, but whenever you want. Yeah, aye.
What time is it now? Rather, what time is it now? What time is it now?
Check your sundial, lad.
We're inside.
It's about 9 o'clock in the morning.
I think we'll go
Oh,
now.
well, then yes, I think we'll go now.
Silly Damerus.
This silly Damerus can't tell the time inside. We might... Should we, kind of, to the group, and then remembering we've kind of brought Durmond in on this, should we send word to Pelton if we're going to be out of town for a week?
Yeah, could you tell him that his super secret spy people are not going to be here?
I maybe won't do it in those exact terms, but...
Almost certainly don't use any of those terms, but...
We're people!
Yes, but the
Well-
first words that you use, Drake, let's think of those.
I consider myself pretty super.
Yeah, well, yes and no, and I consider you to be super too, but super secret kind of gives away the gist of the fact that we're trying to be super
Right, I see
secret.
your point here. Just the super spy then.
Aye, look, I'll be sure to send word, and
Thank
I'm
you,
sure it'll all be fine.
Well, I guess pack up our stuff and go. Let's go and meet at Market Hill in an hour or so.
We're off to see
Yes.
the dwarves.
Yes, we are. With the horses. Let's get our shit.
I'm sure you'll have a lovely time there. But pack up warm, Corvushold, obviously very high up, very cold place.
Noted.
Velafyra not clocked on what the job is yet.
Not yet.
Okay, great. Just checking.
We'll deal with that in the field.
Yeah.
No, we're not killing anyone. We should be fine.
Just bringing them back, trapping them to be murdered.
We're not going to tell her everything.
My blood sports.
What she doesn't know won't know.
I'm just excited to go travelling for now.
Look,
Eventually
we lied
just
to her
gonna
about
realise.
Darren's death, and it worked really well.
Yeah, and then I did a really good job of, making good
Oh.
on my end of being like, we'll kill the bad guys. Don't blame Damerus. But yes, I guess we all take an hour to
get
collect
all
our
shit together
belongings
and
go.
and meet at Market Hall.
It's easy enough to do. You draw you get your cart out, and you start heading north.
Yeah.
Okay.
I spy.
Time passes.
If you were another animal,
More time passes.
Oh, wait a second, what is that ahead of us? Oh no. Everyone in the wagon, I think it's bees.
Bees! That wasn't staged at all.
so I'm
That's the bit
excited.
not
You people are the worst.
I'm excited to see a basilisk. I've never seen one before.
What do I know about this?
Make a nature check.
Can I also?
Yes,
8.
you've heard of them.
Well, they've got cool names, right?
Yeah.
9.
9. You've also heard of them. A little bit more than Drake.
Cool.
I must
they
remember
do, I'm
Basilisk,
sure.
surely.
Yeah.
Make a nature check, Herb.
Like
Nature.
small lizards, right?
Yeah, with eyes and teeth.
18.
18. You
Bodies.
I think.
You-
I think they have.
you
skin.
think back many years, Herb. You're not sure exactly when, but you think back and you remember fighting some of these creatures in a underground somewhere. You remember their large, scaly, spiked bodies there, and you remember specifically their glowing eyes, and you actually sort of draw into yourself for a moment as you just see someone being turned to stone. One of your companions on your side, and you just feel a sudden pain and like frustration at being unable to help, and you're just like, no! But then the memory fades and you can't remember who this is, but you do know that basilisks definitely have these petrifying abilities. They can turn people to stone.
So yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, skin,
Lizards
and
bones,
lizard-like.
No, Jerry, no!
Who's Jerry here? That's a no one.
That's none of us.
Who's Jerry?
I don't know, but basilisks, bad news.
Bad news. How?
Yeah. They sound cool.
Yeah.
The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air beware!
I hate you so much!
that is just a reference.
That's just a reference.
Only a dangerously
Dangerously
close.
close. It is.
Yeah.
Also, granted, I'm the only one who could technically be in air here.
It says here pipes.
A mirror?
Oh boy, you die
It
first.
says here I speak parcel tongue.
There are these awful snakes that turn people to stone with their eyes.
But that's cool.
The
That is-
glowing eyes.
But I guess only when they're really angry. Right? Like,
you
be friends with
make
them.
eye contact with them and like that.
So that I guess is all the time.
Well, it sounds bad. But we might not even be getting him. We haven't met his face, the ginger lad who's like this guy.
Oh yes, the ginger dwarf. Yes,
He's got
yes,
the
yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
That's probably how he lost it, just always waving at people.
Hello. God. Well, that'll show me.
Well, I hope that whatever we meet is exciting
Oh, I'm sure it will
and
be.
friendly.
I'm sure it will be exciting.
Certainly at least half of what you asked for.
And I'm so excited to bring them back to Peakstock so everyone can see them. It's going to be
Yes.
so cool.
Everyone will see them who pays to go to the place.
All 10,000 of the people.
At least. If not more.
It will be quite the spectacle.
And I think that's the end of that conversation.
I was going to say it very much is at least like that's just the arena is has the capacity of 10,000, but there are ways that they can use to show the events happening in the arena outside of the arena.
They get them hubs, they get these mirrors.
Damerus would like to
Widescreen.
survey the road as we begin leaving Peakstock. Just
Make a
keeping
perception
an eye.
check.
Drake would like to actively not.
Noted. Make a non-perception check.
Well,
Hit your head against the desk.
16.
You successfully see a lot of things not.
17.
I don't see any
17.
dragons.
You and there was your first mistake.
Well, there
So-
were 12.
Always 12 dragons. So you
12 gods, 12 dragons.
you
12 blessings.
12 blessings. No, so you make your way out of the north gate of Peakstock, and you start heading towards the Yormunrus mountain range. It is a cold day. Obviously, it's autumn sort of time, and it's cold and it's overcast.
You're still wearing your robe that's open at the back.
Gotta let my ass breathe.
Very, very windy.
It's like a natural air freshener.
It's not how that works.
Natural pollutant.
A through draft.
Grim.
Correct.
It's always either 0 or 10 with you, Alex. In multiple senses. But I love you anyway. So it's a very cold day. You go out of the northern gate over this overcast day, and keeping an eye out on the road. It obviously, this northern road tends to be the least busy of the 3 roads that lead out of the city. East, west, east, south, and north, because this pretty much just leads to Corvos Hold, which is the westernmost of the 7 clans of the Durmond clanship. And you pretty much wouldn't really have any other reason to go along this road unless you were heading that way. So it's very quiet. You come across most of the other carts and things you encounter are coming from the other way. So just mostly dwarven merchants and the like. So just sort of nod at you as you go past. Eventually, after only a few hours, actually, probably about 4 hours or so, as you're heading towards the mountains, and it's a weird sensation. You know that the mountains, you have gotten closer to them, but you're not quite sure how. It almost seems as if they've very suddenly gotten larger. It's a very strange sensation. Not
that too, right?
Not sort of
Yes.
not sort of in any magical sense. More just in the sense that you're like, whoa, those are big. Those are really big mountains.
I thought they were just very far away.
No, that's like Big Cheese when he was Little Cheese.
Oh yes.
Wow.
And you come to a kind of fort in the road, so to speak, which is just stone walls, a couple of towers, very much blocking the road, stretching out for quite a distance, not like a complete wall, but stretching out for quite a distance, and particularly blocking this road plus probably a mile or so in each direction. But this is where it stops, and you are stopped, and you see some human guards standing outside the gates, and goes, "Halt! You have business in the clanship?"
Yes, and I begin taking out the documentation. We've been hired by the sales of peat stock, golden sales.
But we are the Golden Saints.
Well, yes, well, we are with the Golden Sails. We've been hired by a member of the clanship. It's part of the whole, the Tempest Games.
Yes. Very well, yes, that seems to be in order. Open the gates, and the great fort gates open up very slowly, and goes, just sail again at the Durmond border when you reach it.
Of course.
Good day, 12 blessings. And you continue on. The road now on the other side, the roads, the terrain surrounding you is very much heathland, and as you notice the road is on a slight incline. You appear to be going ever so, not massively, but you're certainly going up higher into the foothills of the Ormondrous Mountains. Several more hours go by. It's probably about late afternoon at this stage. I'd say about 4 o'clock by the time you reach the another checkpoint. This one manned by a very large group of dwarves, in varying different forms and again all wearing sort of heavy armor. No markings that you can see. A strange bird in the distance.
You haven't
got any fish?
the eagle kind of just flies away. And you're now pretty much now right at the foothills, like the mountains, like now pretty much envelop your entire vision, and they stretch up. Like you can see the path. There's a pathway leading high up into the mountain pass. You are again stopped at a gate. He goes, "You are from Damer, yes?"
Yes, that is correct, Master Dwarf. And I pull out the documentation. You're on some kind of escort job, I assume. Something for the Tempest Games from Peakstock.
Yeah, to get to the beach street.
Yes. Two halflings, human, tiefling, and...
Elf.
Yes. Yes. And how long do you intend to stay?
She wasn't an advent.
A week or so?
Yes, they say we should be done within a week, apparently.
A week. Very well. That all seems to be in order. Cause no trouble.
Of course not.
Just, I presume you're heading to Corvus Hold.
Yes.
Very well. Follow the path up. We've not heard any talk of danger on the road, but as always in mountain passes, be careful. You will need to rest up for the night somewhere halfway up the mountain, I imagine, but you all look capable.
Is there a particular camping site or something we should aim for?
There are several small outcroppings along the path. You should notice them. People have made use of them over the years. They should be obviously apparent. We patrol and make sure to keep this road free of any creatures or vermin or dangers. You should be safe.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. 12 blessings.
12 blessings, cause no trouble. Good day. You are let through and and as you are let through, you start climbing the mountain. Basically, you follow the road. The road is like wide enough for your cart, and the horses are able to. It's fairly slow going, but it's not the straight plains that you've been traveling on for the past day or so. So several more hours go by, and you start winding your way up, and as you can see the sun going down over it's quite a beautiful view actually, because of these mountains, you're at the very western end of the Yomundrous Mountains, and the Wayandan Sea glows and glitters out to your left as the sun sets over it. And as you climb, things start getting colder as night falls and as the altitude increases, and eventually a few hours into the journey, you turn a corner. And you can see the path continues further up, but you also see a sort of a slightly, the path is sort of widened out a bit, and there's a large, fairly empty area, which is overhung by the mountain, kind of like a sort of a rather large hollowed out bit of rock. And you see a human man sitting by himself with some large backpacks by a fireplace. That is burning, and he just goes, "Ah, hello, travellers, greetings and 12 blessings to you. Please, the hour is late. Please come and join me by the fire." And that is where we will end today's adventure.
Next time on MaudeWorld.
You fine folk ever heard of the Guathrine?